Hey, everybody. Welcome to February's live stream. It's Friday. Woohoo! So excited for this Friday, first Friday of February 2023. And I have Maya Grossman with me, which I'm super excited about. As you pop on, and whether you're listening on Twitter or Facebook or YouTube or LinkedIn, would love for you to let us know where you're listening in from. Say hello, get some questions ready for Maya because she's a badass. Thanks so much for being here. Make sure that you follow up and let me know what you think. Okay, so Maya, you're kind of a badass, right? You've been VP of marketing, you've worked at Microsoft, hey, Google. First things first, I would love for you to just tell us a little bit about you, what you do today, and just get the audience acquainted with Maya.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you. No one called me a badass before. I kind of like it. I might have to keep using it. But yeah, you kind of already mentioned I am, you can say, a corporate gal turned career coach. So I spent 15 years in marketing, build my way up all the way to the VP level, and then decided I'm going to help other people do the same and level up in their careers. So that's what I do today. I help ambitious professionals make quantum leaps in their careers and earn their worth while actually enjoying their 9 to 5.
Wow, that's a hefty load, right? So I'd love to first hear because you did that's something we both have aligned is that we both worked in corporate, right? And are now on our own. I'd love to first kind of talk a little bit about those, 15 years climbing the corporate ladder. What did you learn along the way? How were you building your reputation and working yourself up? What were some of the ways in which you did that? How was that experience?
Yeah, I think like a lot of people, I had this misconception early on in my career that if I'm going to work hard, if I'm just going to outwork everyone else, that's how I'm going to be successful. So that's what I did for almost 7 years, the first 7 years of my career. And I saw a little bit of progress, right? I was able to get promoted once or twice within those 7 years, but then I got stuck because I wasn't thinking about my reputation. I wasn't thinking about, everything that you actually need to get promoted, which is a lot more than just doing the work. I kept thinking, oh, my work is going to speak for itself, but it really didn't. And I had this really aha moment at some point where I was working for a travel agency for 7 years, but I didn't actually want to be a travel agent. I just started my bachelor's at the time, fell in love with marketing, and really wanted to transition into that industry, but I had no idea how to do it. I didn't know anyone who was a marketer. My company wasn't doing any marketing, and I was a travel agent. So I had to figure out, okay, what do I do? How do I pivot? How do I transition into this new career? And that's when I had the aha moment of, wait a minute, no one's going to give it to me. No one's going to come and save me and magically give me what I wanted. I'm going to need to do the work. I'm going to need to figure out how to get there. And that was the first time I realized I need to take control of my career and I need to make things happen for myself. And here's what I did. I actually came up with an idea. I went to my boss and I said, hey, I know we don't do a lot of marketing, but there's this new thing called social media. This is how old I am. And I know it's going to do wonders for the agency. Would you mind if I do some of the work in my spare time? It's not going to get into my day-to-day work, but I'm going to learn and the company is going to benefit. And I've been there for almost 7 years at that point. They love me, they trust me. So they said, okay, no problem. And I spent 6 months learning about marketing, creating Facebook pages, Twitter, actually learning, creating content, and I was able to get results. So 6 months later, I was able to actually quit and get a marketing job because I created my own experience and I gained the confidence to actually go for it. And that was the first time I realized when you want something in your career, you need to make it happen.
Wow. I mean, there's so many powerful things that you just talked about. One, just like taking control and ownership of your career. And I think that that's really powerful because I think a lot of people expect their manager or their teammates to kind of tell them what to do or to craft that journey for them. So I think that's really powerful. But you also kind of took, and this is something I love, took advantage of the company and where you were at, right? To do with something stretchy, something different, took advantage of the resources available to you, right? Kind
Yeah.
of let yourself stretch and think outside of the box while getting paid for that company.
Yeah.
And then that laid the foundation for you to do something else. And that's so powerful, Maya. Like I say all the time, we need to take advantage of the companies that we work for. We
Yeah.
have to.
But when you say, when you say take advantage, it sounds bad. They got so much out of it.
Of course.
I built their entire social media from the ground up. I got them customers. I set them up for success, right? So I wasn't doing it behind their backs. I wasn't using like company funds, not that kind of advantage, but
Right.
just making the most out of the opportunities that you have at your disposal. So yeah, if you can make it a win-win, it
Yeah.
makes it so much better because then they support you, they give you the resources, and you're able to grow kind of on their expense, but you're giving back at the same time.
100%. 100%. Like that's how it should always be, right? I mean, that's why we're in business. It shouldn't ever be a one-way street. So, that's so helpful. Okay, so now you support people in growing their careers and really working on that reputation and getting promoted. You have a LinkedIn learning course, right? All about this. So you like kind of know what you're talking about. Can you talk a little bit how do you think about the steps to grow that career, get promoted?
Yeah. So I think we already kind of started by saying you need to take control. So if you want to get promoted, it is your job, not the company's job. And I think people have this misconception that getting promoted is a reward for doing your job well. But it's actually not. If you do your job well, you're not going to get fired. You're going to do exactly what you're paid to do. But if you're doing more of the same, you're not demonstrating that you're ready for the next level. And a promotion is actually a vote of confidence in your ability to do next level work. This is how you convince, your manager, the leadership team to take a chance on you essentially because you're going to get a job that you've never done before, but they're going to trust you to figure it out. So first and foremost, you need to understand what a promotion is all about. It's not about you, it's about the company. And if you can demonstrate that you're going to add more value in the next role, it's going to be an easy yes to promote you. Now, how do you actually do that? Most people think I'm just going to work really hard. I'm going to put in more hours and it's going to do the work. But that's actually how you burn out. That is not how you get promoted because there are
Mhm.
actually a couple of other things that go into a promotion. And I actually have a 5-step system, and we're going to talk about it. It's called Startup. So you're going to need 5 things to get promoted. First of all, you're going to need a strategy. Why? Because things are not going to magically happen. You need a plan. So you're going to have a strategy. Then we are going to talk about advocates. You need advocacy. You need to advocate for yourself, but you also need other people to speak on your behalf. Because when the decision about your promotion is going to be made, you're not going to be in the room. You need other people to speak up for you. You also need to work on your reputation, which is exactly what we're talking about today. And it's not just about the work. The work is not going to speak for itself. When you build a reputation, you shape perception. And you have to be very clear about how you tie your own story to the company's success. You're also going to need to actually do the work to have achievements. And
Yeah.
I need to make it very clear it's not enough to do your job. You need to exceed expectations. And let me explain why. When you do your job, you're doing exactly what is expected of you. So your manager is not going to get excited. They're probably not even going to notice because it's nothing new. Hey, you're just doing what you're supposed to do. When you exceed expectation, you surprise people. They take notice. You stand out. And that's how you get the attention that you want. And lastly, and this is one thing that most people skip, because they think, oh, I did all the work. I don't actually need to package everything nicely and show it to people, but you do. You want to have a business case. You want to demonstrate very, very clearly in a concise way how promoting you is going to add value to the company. And if you can have all of these, your promotion is not going to be a maybe. It's just going to be a question of when.
Mm. That last that's so good. That last step of just, like, kind of building the case essentially for yourself, I find that to be, for many people, one of the hardest things, right? Where it's like you're going into those meetings, the connects, the end of the year review and whatnot, and you wanna, position yourself in a way that makes sense. Can you talk a little bit of how do you sort of build the evidence in case that you're ready for this promotion?
Yeah, and that's why you need a strategy. I think what happens why so many people are so scared of performance reviews is because they decide 2 weeks before a performance review to start looking for information and data, and they try to convince people. And it's a very stressful period of time. Now, if you have a strategy, if you know you are working towards a promotion, or if you know that you're working towards your next performance review, you're going to have a lot of time, probably a couple of months, to not only do the work, but to collect everything, to capture the data, and slowly build your case. So when it's time to actually present it, you literally have everything that you need. And it's a lot harder to try and make that work last minute because
Mm,
we have a tendency to put more emphasis on things that happened very recently. So you're going to remember things that happened in the last week or month. You're not going to remember what happened 6 months ago. You might have had a massive win and it's going to look so small. So, one of the biggest benefits of having this strategy is capturing everything as you go. So, you have so much information and data, and everything is captured as it happens. So, you give it the right significance.
mm. That's one of the things that I found was useful. I mean, every company has different performance review timelines, but at Microsoft, it was pretty much every quarter where you'd fill out, looking back, looking forward, how am I doing, wins, etc. And Gartner did, I think it was more like every 6 months, but having that protocol in place was helpful as the employee to constantly be taking that time to document all of the things that are going on to make sure that your manager is also seeing that and there's that conversation too. So even if you're like whether whatever format your company does, you're kind of saying make sure you're doing that for yourself. You're tracking it, you're kind of keeping that visibility and making sure you're knowing what you're doing along the way, part of that strategy.
Yeah, and I'll say another very important tip is to make sure that you're working on the right things. It is very easy to kind of just, do the day to day, put out fires, and just handle whatever is coming your way. But if you want to get promoted, you really need to understand what the next level looks like and make sure that you create opportunities to demonstrate your skills at that level. If you just keep doing what you're doing, again, it's not going to make a difference. So if you can decide, about 2 or 3 different projects that are going to demonstrate that you can operate at the next level, that's what you should pursue and that's what you should track. So when the time is right, you're not just saying, "Hey, I did my job and I did it well," but you're saying, "I did next level job and I did it well."
Yeah, yeah, of course. I can't help, we talked about this for a second before getting on, but definitely now for many people is not a time necessarily of promotion, especially, beginning of the year. Sometimes this is a time where you're not, maybe you're finding out about promotions, depends on how your company is structured. And then we know a lot of people are unfortunately getting laid off or, kind of worried about their jobs. And so I'm curious for those people that are listening that might be affected or are just listening and be like, Rachel, I can't be thinking about a promotion right now. Like, I'm just happy to have my job. Like, I don't know, my job's on the line, right? What's something we should think about? Because even in these moments, right, doesn't mean we stop thinking about that promotion.
Yeah, I know. I like to have a long-term approach to everything that's happening. Yes, if something happened right now and you were laid off, obviously you need to think about the near future. But if you manage your career more strategically, you're going to have a long-term plan. And this is something, as the recession started, is something that I looked into. And very specifically, if you want to future proof your career, the one thing that you need to do, the one thing that will differentiate you is investing in yourself, investing in skills, because skills cannot be inflated away from you. This is not something that can be taken. So the more you invest in yourself, and that's, hard skills, soft skills, your reputation, the more you build your personality at the workplace, the easier it's going to be for you to, one, be more valuable for the company. So maybe they, are going to think twice before letting you go. Two, it's going to be a lot easier for you to find your next job without compromising, without taking a step back, because you have already built that reputation and all the achievements that you've had to date. And lastly, it's going to be a lot easier for you to stand out, because in the next couple of months, maybe a year, most people are going to weather the storm. They're just going to wait quietly for everything to pass. But that's actually an opportunity to stand out, because if everyone are standing still, if you're going to raise your hand, if you're going to do a little bit extra, you're going to shine and you're going to get opportunities that other people don't have. And when I look at the last year, I know it was difficult for a lot of people. And yet, a lot of the clients that I work with were still promoted. They still negotiated top offers, and they were still able to build the career that they wanted because they've been working on it for a really long time. They built the reputation, they had the achievements, and they were able to demonstrate that they're valuable. So their companies were willing to invest in them.
Mm. It's really powerful, I think, what you're saying, because the people inside of a company that are showing their value, that are not complaining when things get tough, that take right now, they take on a little bit more work, they stretch,
Yep.
let's say, people are laid off, so the team's smaller. That means there's more work to be done with less people. That's a very likely thing that's happening for many people right now inside their teams. And those people that show the value, stand up, are a team player, kind of like stay gritty, through this. It's like a year later, the managers and the people remember that. They remember, and that promo comes a lot easier, right? It's like we always I think that's something that was always really valuable for me, and my mentality was always around like, here's a team collaboration, like what do we need to get done, how are we going to do it, how do we do it great, and like what's the stretch on making that possible, and pushing that boundary a little bit. And my managers just always loved that.
Yeah, same for me. I do want to emphasize that it is great to take on a little bit more responsibility to stretch yourself, right? Kind of learning on the job.
Yeah.
And if you do that well, the way that I teach, because I want you to work smarter, not harder, if you take on more, you're going to find ways to eliminate some of your work, whether you're delegating, you're outsourcing, and sometimes you're just not doing the work because it's not necessary. We have a
Yeah.
lot of junk on our to-do list that no one actually cares about. So I definitely want people to know that it's okay to take a little bit more work. You don't want to burn yourself out. And at the same time, you should get compensated for doing more. So start with demonstrating that you're capable, stretch yourself, show up for the company, but don't be afraid to ask for what you deserve when the time is right. So maybe not right now because everything is, so stretched and limited, and companies are not able to necessarily give raises and bonuses, but make sure that people know that you're doing more. Make sure that you're tracking everything. So when the time is right, you're going to get compensated for the work you did. And if for some reason you don't, right, if you do this for, I don't know, 6 months and there's absolutely no demonstration from the company side that they're going to compensate you, well, then it's time to start looking externally. And you just spend 6 months qualifying yourself for the next job, right? So you're
Yeah.
already going to have everything you need to level up externally and get that recognition. So it's not wasted time. It's just a matter of who's going to compensate you for it, your current company or your next employer.
Hmm. It's really sound advice. Really sound advice, Maya. So, what are you excited about, like right now? Like, what are you working on? What are you excited to have people, reach out to you about, or, What's going on that people can kind of engage with you more?
Yeah, it's interesting that you're asking because I'm actually working on something new and I haven't shared it with anyone yet. So this is an exclusive. Um, I've been working a lot with people one on one, but I also have courses that are pre-recorded. And the more I talk to people, the more I understand that it's not enough. When you really want to make a change, it's not enough to have like one conversation. And people are a little bit tired of just doing everything on their own online. So I thought to myself, what can I do? What type of program can I build that's going to bring everything together? The one on one, the community, the knowledge, but also the implementation. And the result is going to be a program called Success Builders, where I'm going to bring it all together. So, 6 months of intensive career acceleration where you work with me one on one, you work with a group of high achievers, you learn independently, and you get everything that you need to actually implement and execute everything we talked about. Because I'll tell you what, Rachel, people are going to listen to this show, they're going to get motivated, they're going to get excited, they're going to tell themselves, I am going to change my career in 2023. And about 2 weeks from now, life is going to happen. They're going to forget. They're going to procrastinate. Things are going to get on the schedule and it will never happen. And that's exactly what I want to prevent. I want to put you in an environment where you literally can't fail because everything around you is going to support you and motivate you and give you the tools to work on your career. So in 6 months, you will have made a transformation, a real one. So that's my dream. That's the program that I'm launching
Yay.
later in February. And you're the first to know.
Woohoo! Success builders. That's awesome. That I think is going to be so helpful. And especially with, those ambitious business professionals, people that are ready to kind of take it to the next level. And my gosh, I know that we all need that. And I wish I had a resource,
I wish
like you.
companies would
So,
do I wish companies would
a
do that, you
hundred
know?
percent.
We keep hearing about career development plans. I worked for some of the best companies in the world, and I still didn't get a concrete, actionable plan. I got some feedback. Yeah, you should probably do XYZ. I had someone talk to me once every 6 months, but I didn't really have the guidelines and the playbook. And that's exactly
Yeah.
what I want to give people because I did not have that. And I had to work my butt off to figure it out. And I made so many mistakes and I wasted so much time. And that's exactly what I want to help people do. I want to give them the answer right now.
Well, I'm sure you'll be announcing it. You'll put some information.
Yep.
That's really exciting for everyone to check out Success Builder. Woohoo, you heard it first. Okay, so as we come to a close, Maya, if you just had one one tip, one recommendation for people today as they're thinking about their career and their reputation, what would it be? One tip.
I think the most valuable piece of advice starts with mindset. You really need to understand that you're capable of achieving anything that you want in your career. It doesn't matter where you started from, it doesn't matter if you have an MBA, it doesn't matter if you have certificates, none of that matter. The only thing that matters is that you believe that you're capable because what you believe, you achieve. It is that simple. And the biggest blocker for success is us, our own limiting beliefs and our own fears. So here's a little tip for you. If it does not defy the laws of physics, you can make it happen. It's just about taking control and taking action, which I kind of shared today how you can start doing. So, yeah, you deserve a career and life that you love, and you're the only person who can make it happen. So, I want to leave people
Mm,
with that notion. It is possible, but you need to take action.
I literally Here's my snaps for that. Like, heck yeah. Heck yes. We get to take ownership, responsibility, and accountability for what we create. So that is so phenomenal. Maya, it's the perfect way to conclude. Thank you so much for being here and hanging out with us for a little bit on this Friday. Thank you all so much for watching. Let us know what you thought, any questions, any. Be back in a few weeks in March with another amazing guest. And just really hope everyone has a great weekend. Bye now.
Bye.